So to round out the first day of this 70th anniversary Macau Grand Prix weekend, the second practice session for the Macau GT Cup is about to get underway. The Macau GT Cup doubles as the FIA GT World Cup. Every previous winner of the FIA GT World Cup is in this year's entry list, and you've just seen one of them, Raffaele Marcello. There's another, Laurens van Thor, and they topped the times this morning, and it is going to be a 30-minute session to round out the day. That's Mattia Cairoli's Porsche. He was third this morning, and the purple Porsche, Kevin Estra's car, over his shoulder was fourth, ahead of Mauro Engel and Danny Jonquidea. Screen cleared. The sun has come out, but it's now a pretty low sun to give the drivers an extra challenge. Kevin Estra Whisper It had a little off in the first practice session, just understeered off into the tyre stack down at Moorish. Got away with it, and they're one of the more spectacular colour schemes for Mauro Engel's car. And he again has been a winner here as well. David Addison and Alan Hyde trackside for a grid of not only fantastic looking cars, creatively liveried cars, cars with lots of aero, lots of grunt, lots of go, factory drivers, and they all make a fabulous noise. And Macau, to round out Thursday, is about to shake.
Absolutely love GT cars around the gear circuit here at Macau, and not just any GT cars, these GT cars represented from so many manufacturers and world-class drivers. This is something to savour. Their second free practice session of the day comes straight off the back of a qualifying session for Formula 3 cars here at Macau, but this is just free practice because they will qualify tomorrow afternoon. These cars, they will qualify at 2:05 in the afternoon, and the opportunity for them to free practice. We've now got the Adderley Fong car in view, and it's the very attractive livery advertising and celebrating 50 years of Hello Kitty. I understand the merchandise is flying off the shelves here at Macau, and why not? Because it's Thursday afternoon. The school children have all arrived here at Macau to enjoy the action this afternoon. They're all sitting neatly in coloured order in the grandstands, enjoying it, and I'm sure they'll be going over to the Hello Kitty stand at the end of the day and finding out if there's any little bits of merchandise that they can take away. All because of Adderley Fong. And
as they do so, they've got to fight off an English commentator, because you're quite sold on that livery, aren't you?
I'm buying a lot, yes. That's Jules Gounon in car number 2. Climax Racing entered Mercedes. So many of these drivers are platinum ranked drivers, and we're so lucky to have them. Ferrari, that had a little bit of a problem earlier on, the 51 car, and hopefully this will go according to plan. But we did have a trouble-free session, didn't we, earlier on today?
Pretty much, yeah. We had a track blockage, but it cleared itself with a bit of creative marshalling, and we're looking at times of the 2:16s as the gun. It was all at the Macau hairpin. Alan goes through great pains to explain that you can't overtake at the Macau hairpin, and the reason why. Nobody listened to you, and they all went through. Daniel Serra just didn't have enough lock and came to a halt. This is a driver that was rather disappointing this morning, the DTM champion Thomas Preining. He's here for the first time, but he was quite a long way down. Thomas Preining ended up in the Porsche 19th out of the 20. Just ahead of Marchi Lee.
We're going to start at 4:40 local time. It's 4:39 now local time, so about 40 seconds away from getting these beasts unleashed on the gear circuit. These cars you tame around the gear circuit, but there is really one place where you can unleash the beast around the circuit, and that's down through the very, very fast turn of Mandarin down towards Lisboa. They are wonderful when you can let the machines work around this circuit. Beautiful to watch.
Yeah, you look at the Macau hairpin and you think, now these cars are too big for this circuit. You look at them through Mandarin and you think, wow.
Yes, it's just, it's worth it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's worth it. All that twisting around the hilly section of the circuit just to see them stretch their legs.
And in fairness, the start of last year's race, the Macau GT Cup, when it was Marcello and Mauro Engel going toe-to-toe, was just spellbinding. Green flag shown, session is live. They come in the order of the time set this morning, out through that pre-grid onto the circuit. Porsche, Audi. A quick word about the two Audi Sport Asia Team Absolute cars, they are in the livery of the Chinese fabled story about the Storm Riders. So Eduardo Mortara's car is liveried as Cloud, and teammate Christopher Hauser is Wind.
I always think very hard about the liveries here. There's always something. I remember Augusto Farfus coming here at the end of the year, having a BMW Art car, and to look at it, it was just a plain car, because you needed a virtual reality app that you downloaded on your phone to then look at the car, and it gave you the livery.
Oh, you're kidding.
I'm joking not.
Look at that.
I am joking not.
Well, another of the beauties of this is that because the cars are in one-off colour schemes, they really do stand out. The only slightly familiar livery, if you like, is that yellow man-filter colour scheme of Landgraf for Raffaele Marcello, and you will see on the side it says Grazie Lello, because after being a loyal Mercedes servant, he's off to Bavarian pastures new next year to go to BMW, and so Raffaele Marcello, German champion, the Endurance Cup in Fanatec GT World Challenge Europe champion, overall champion, sprint champion, you name it champion. We've seen him racing in British GT as well this year. A very, very long and successful association with Mercedes AMG comes to an end this weekend, and he'd love to go out with a win, wouldn't he?
It would be the perfect story, the end of an association which has been extremely fruitful, as you have just described, and it's going to be weird to see him in a different car, to be perfectly honest, to not be carrying the star of Mercedes on a car that Raffaele Marcello would be driving. But, yeah, nice livery on that car.
And he's away and gone while the Porsches are playing. So Raffaele Marcello has gone. Laurens Vanthoor is next in the queue, ahead of Matteo Cairoli, ahead of Kevin Estre, and you're riding with, if you can have a Mr. Macau, maybe this is Mr. Mercedes. Raffaele Marcello then down towards Fisherman's Bend.
And of course, Raffaele Marcello was also competing in single-seaters here at Macau as well. Good few years ago now, but competing for the Formula 3 Macau Grand Prix.
Yes, he was Formula 3 champion in 2013, wasn't he, on the European Series?
Is it that long ago?
Yeah.
Goodness me. Time does go quickly, doesn't it?
It does. Then he went to GP2, and lots of them coming in at the end of the outlap, possibly for a tyre cross. Kevin Estre stays out, though.
Marcello, into pit lane.
Matteo Cairoli was being told he had to come in to go to the scrutineering area, but he hasn't gone to the scrutineering area. He's gone straight past, but he has come in.
There are so many top-class drivers here, not only ranked platinum, but also world-class drivers competing at Macau. They love the challenge. Last year, we didn't have an FIA GT World Cup for the third consecutive year. However, a number of these drivers and the manufacturers wanted them to be here, so they came here to compete in the Macau GT Cup. Boy, the action it gave us last year. It was the most incredible start to the race, courtesy of Raffaele Marcello and Maro Engel. It was something to savour, and I fancy we're going to get the same this year.
Sheldon van der Linde is new to Macau, but he's just done an absolute best first sector, although that now has been battered by BMW stablemate Augusto Farfus, not teammate, because Farfus comes from the Rover Racing stable and van der Linde from the Vincent Voss Yves Weert's WRT team. But that is Sheldon van der Linde in that familiar 32 number that WRT cars, the sort of favoured car, always carries, number 32. Vincent Voss, who operates the team, Belgian team, and a driver that's been very successful himself before coming into the team ownership role. Right, so that's van der Linde. This is looking all right, isn't it?
So currently fifth, and that's just on the outlap, but the car is pretty solitary on the circuit, so no traffic to worry about in front as the car heads up towards the Melco hairpin. These cars are so big, just getting around the Melco hairpin, it really does look as if it's going to be a problem, and these drivers, they are so at the top of their game. They negotiate it so beautifully, and it's an important thing to do, because getting around the Melco hairpin sets you up for the run down through Black Sands, down through Fisherman's Bend. The final turn is our bend, and that will be the start of the next lap. So That's absolutely critical to how close the cars go to the wall on the left-hand side around our bend, and the barrier at our bend. The exit so close, the car almost kisses the barrier. There's going to be traffic ahead, but as the car skips over the bump through the final turn, and that's the completion of a lap. Top of the times, Kevin Estre with a 2:19.732. Sean Randall in the second with a 2:20.089. Third quickest, and Mr. Macau is one and Augusto Farfus goes third, in fact. So in the second of the BMWs, 2:22.506. He's won this race as well here at Macau, the FIA GT World Cup. And it was all a bit emotional, really. It was Charlie Lamb's final time at the helm of the Schnitzer Motorsport team, and Augusto was able to deal up a win to make Charlie a very happy man. I cried, actually. Had a little tear when we were talking about that.
You cried when you couldn't get your Hello Kitty merch earlier, so, you know,
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Kevin Estre the fastest then in the purple Porsche. You're riding at the moment on board Mr. Macau's Audi, Edo Mortara. Not necessarily, you get the feeling at this point, massive commitment, but he has been good in the earlier two sectors. So Edo Mortara doing what's required as he comes then now through the Solitude S's up towards Faraway Hill.
I'm looking at Augusto Farfus as well, because he has gone purple in sectors 1 and 2. The Brazilian driver, currently third. Purple for Augusto Farfus. Also one of the nicest guys you could hope to meet, isn't he, Augusto? Yeah. Really lovely guy. And personal best in sector 3. Kevin Estre, meanwhile, has gone purple in sector 3 and 4, and is already topping the times with a 2:19.7. Only the final sector to go for Kevin Estre. 2 purples, 2 greens.
Kevin Estre is always worth standing up for, so I shall hang on in there for a bit longer while he comes across the line. Augusto Farfus, as you've said, getting his BMW up to the pointy end. Kevin Estre goes through, goes quicker still, 2:16.621. So 2 personals and 3 absolute bests on that lap. Raffaele Marciello, amazingly, is yet to do a proper lap time, as has Jules Goulon, as has Mauro Engel, but it's all going to shuffle around in the remaining 22 minutes, isn't it?
Augusto Farfus yet to complete this lap and completes sector 5. He also has 2 purples, 2 greens, and Augusto Farfus, we're still waiting for him to complete this final sector. Goes second. Yeah. So 3 greens, 2 purples, all adds up to 2:17.037. Augusto Farfus, 0.4 of a second behind Kevin Estre. Quite
like the fact that the Rover Racing BMWs, instead of the traditional yellow, have gone gold to make it more of that sort of Far East colour scheme. You're riding with Raffaele Marciello. Kevin Estre is on a mission, though, at the moment in Porsche number 27. What about Lello? He's doing absolute best in the Landgraf Mercedes. Sheldon van der Linde and Augusto Farfus are also doing absolute bests. Right, let's ride with Marciello then, through the S's. Out of Police, up towards Moorish. Still get the feeling he's building up. He's going, but there's more in the tank, as it were.
Yep, we shall wait and see, but still a treat to be driving on board with Raffaele Marciello around Donna Maria, and then up towards the Melco hairpin. Let's see how easy this is. Arms all over the place to get round in a GT car, and
but he's pulled the pin, because now he's absolutely flat chat all the way down towards Fisherman's, and he's building up for the next lap. So tyres are up to temperature, he's got no traffic around him. If we stay with him, Raffaele Marciello, for the next lap, it's going to be a very, very good one. This shouldn't be too shabby in itself, but I think it's the next one that's going to be the really good one, as Kevin Estre here is still the fastest, and he's heading up towards Fisherman's. He's on track behind Marciello.
And the car dancing over the bumps in the Porsche.
Marciello 10th, but he's on an even quicker lap now.
Yeah, so Marciello setting up the end of that lap to set up for the next lap. Kevin Estre is top of the times. He's gone green in the first 3 sectors and not green on the final couple of sectors. And then Sheldon van der Linde goes top, 2:16.575, 2 purples, 2 greens, and the result of that is a 2:16.233. And then Eduardo Mortara goes top. 2:16.233. It really is beginning to heat up now, and it's only free practice.
10 minutes done. This is Mortara down towards Mandarin. Let's go with him. And then he blasts down to Lisboa as he is quicker by 0.3 of a second from Van der Linde. Estra down to third. The Ferrari then way out wide towards the wall. Daniel Serra and David Chen are the Ferrari drivers for the weekend. And that is Daniel Serra, the Brazilian, up to 5th fastest then. Christopher Hauser, who was quick this morning, not really clicking yet. 12, he's just been pushed down to. And Mauro Engel biding his time. He's only 11th fastest. But
he is.
As we say, there's a lot that can shake out of this before the end.
I have news. Adelie Fong is 4th in the Hello Kitty car.
The what, sorry?
The Hello Kitty car, celebrating 50 years of Hello Kitty and runs with number 50.
Imagine
it's like they planned it.
Imagine.
2:16.747 for Adelie Fong.
And in 51, Daniel Serra getting on the lights to say to Christopher Hauser, do you mind awfully getting out of the way, because I'm a bit quicker than you are. Even though Christopher has just done a personal best in sector 1, so has Daniel Serra, and he's caught right up to him. So the Ferrari goes for the inside. Christopher Hauser lets him go. Daniel Serra, a car making its Macau debut, the Ferrari 296, new this year. Sort of car that El Bamba, who's in this entry, used to win the Nürburgring 24 Hours.
Mr. Macau is quickest at the moment, car number 40. Eduardo Mortara, 2:16.233. Sheldon Van der Linde, second, 2:16.575. Kevin Estra is third, car number 27 at 2:16.621. Adelie Fong is fourth, car number 50, 2:16.747. Serra is fifth, and El Bamba is sixth. We haven't mentioned El Bamba too much, have we?
No, but he's going much, much better now than he was this morning in the D2 Racing Team Porsche. That is it. Look, D2 colour scheme adorning the almost Scandinavian blue and yellow colours. He comes up towards the end of the lap. Sheldon Van der Linde has got quicker again, 2:16.2. He's 32 thousandths up on Mortara. Here comes El Bamba. Into the pit lane has just come Kevin Estra, and he's about to go through the scrutineering checks. Bamba for the line. Bamba up to 4th.
So El Bamba up to 4th place. Augusto Farfus was dropping down the order and then went into the pit lane. So now Augusto in the BMW has left pit lane, back out on track. Eduardo Mortara still on top of the times and with an improvement at 2:15.986. So the first car to go into the 2:15s, Eduardo Mortara. Not surprising, he's going rather well around the gear circuit here at Macau.
So is Raffaele Marcello, 2 personal bests. He's up to 8th in the times. So here he comes then. It's just breathtaking, this section, where it's so narrow and yet the drivers are so precise. And Marcello has done, as I say, 2 personal bests as he heads now on towards Pyle and then towards Police.
So currently 8th in this free practice session. Not even halfway through yet. So it's such a treat to see these cars skipping and bouncing over the bumpy sections of the hill parts of the circuit around Donna Maria, down towards the Melco hairpin. Goes the Mercedes. Marciello turns the car through, squeezes it through.
Mauro Engel is up to 3rd. Now, he's done personals and absolutes on his next lap as well. So Engel, I said, was taking his time to get started. He has now certainly started. And Marciello will see, I don't think, necessarily improve on this lap because sectors 3 and 4 are a bit down. He might even be pitting. How is Jules Gounon getting on for his Macau debut? 17th. I think Jules finding this a bit tougher than he expected.
Eduardo Mortara is top. Sheldon Van der Linde is second. Mauro Engel finally gets onto the top 10. And Mauro Engel in 3rd place. El Bamba is 4th. Kevin Estra is 5th. Adelie Fong is 6th. 2:15.986 the target time from Eduardo Mortara.
This is Lawrence Van Thor, and he's 4th now. He's just gone 4th, beginning absolute best across sectors from Van der Linde, from Engel, from Bamba, from Serra. Mauro Engel is quickest on a 2:15.799 by just under 0.2 of a second. So Mauro Engel goes to the very top of the times. Really, really good lap, that.
Yeah, and about time too.
Well, yeah,
he hasn't really featured so far.
No, I was just thinking, there's an enormous amount at stake here for these drivers. They all want to win this. There are some big, dare I say it, egos in this entry. They all want to win. This is a massively competitive race.
And some huge talent in this entry as well.
Absolutely.
So ego with good reason, I think we can say.
I mean, the CVs are long and justifiably long.
Superb. We are so lucky to attract the calibre of driver that we've got in this field. It's superb. Macau GT Cup, FIA GT World Cup. It's all here at Macau. 2:15.799 for Mauro Engel. Eduardo Mortara is second, 2:15.986. Sheldon van der Linde is third, 2:16.201. And Lawrence van Thur is fourth with a 2:16.307 on that last lap.
To have every previous winner of the FIA GT World Cup in the entry is massively impressive, as Van Thor then should go top this time, I reckon, because he's done 2 personal best and an absolute already. Daniel Serra did an absolute best on his last lap and then bailed. But Van Thor, again, look, he's got clear track space all around him as he comes now through Donna Maria, out of the left-hander, up against the wall on the inside, lets it run out to the outside. He's on the power, he's down to the hairpin. Nobody around him, goes as wide as he can in, cranks on the lock, fights it out the other side, drops downhill now, still narrow, but the speed is building all the time. That's Marciello, who's up the road ahead of him. Raffaele 9th at the moment. Fastest this morning, but he's not finding this as easy a session.
That fourth sector for Laurent van Thur that we just watched was not a personal best. However, he had got personal best in sectors 1 and 3 and overall best in sector 2. Wonder what sector 5 is going to be for Laurent van Thur.
Marciello's up to 5th, that's quickly to mention.
And we wait for Lawrence to go second, so a 2:15.935. It was a good lap, just that sector 4 was down a little bit, so could potentially have been on a par with Mauro Engel, could potentially have been the quickest time for Lawrence van Thur, a former winner of this race here at Macau.
Now that's Danny Juncadella, who's also hustling along and is only at the moment in 14th in the times, but this lap is full of personal bests. So number 91, the former Macau Grand Prix winner, Formula 3 winner, comes up to see what he can do about GT honours this year, and he breaks the beam, and Danny Juncadella goes into the top 10.
Yeah, green all the way for Danny, and as we've got quite a few cars that have been in pit lane. We've got quite a few cars that are now electing to leave pit lane because we are into the second half of the session. By a couple of minutes now, actually. 2 minutes and 28 seconds of the session remain, and this is only free practice. We haven't yet got competitive. We do that for the Macau GT Cup at just gone 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon here, Friday at Macau.
Mochi Lee's Mercedes is at the foot of the times, but again, should be an improver here to go ahead of Frankie Cheng. So Mochi Lee through our bend in the Mercedes run by Toro Racing, that's also running the Porsche of Lawrence van Thor. Over the timing line he goes. It's a better time, but he stays 20th, I'm afraid. And now Marciello is on a mission, 5th fastest.
Mauro Engel is top of the times, car number 77, the Mercedes, 2:15.799. Lawrence van Thur is second, 2:15.935. Eduardo Mortara, car number 40, is third, and Sheldon van der Linde is fourth. On board with Raffaele Marciello.
Had to get past Yi Hong Lee's Porsche, but he does that with alacrity. And now up towards our bend. This straight between Fisherman's and our bend, longer than you think, and therefore it's faster than you think.
Yeah, it is quick, and a good chance to stretch the legs on this GT machinery. GT3 cars are just glorious, aren't they?
You're not wrong. Marciello up to 5th. Yes, indeed, indeed. Right, let's ride with Marciello for a moment. Bit of a lift, I thought there, possibly because he thought there was traffic ahead and he thought maybe we'll let that go. So Raffaele Marciello doesn't exude the same confidence that he did this morning. The lap times just aren't really coming for him. That said, he's only 4/10ths off the top time, 4/10ths, but that's 5th.
Yeah, there are very, very small margins between the top 3. Mauro Engel is a 2:15.799, then a 10th of a second or thereabouts to Lawrence van Thur, and then a 10th of a second to Eduardo Mortara. That's not a bad top 3, is it? Then if you throw in Sheldon van der Linde in 4th, Raffaele Marciello in 5th, and a Macau Grand Prix winner Daniel Juncadella in 6th place. Earl Bamber, Kevin Estra. The names keep coming, don't they, in the entry this year?
Absolutely. It's a mega entry, it really is. We've got at the moment the leading 8, all within a second of each other. Danny Junqueira was up to 6th last time, as Alan was saying when he went through the leaderboard. So 2:16.254 for Danny Junqueira on his last lap, and he's in sector 2 now, having started not quite as quickly. Engels improved in sector 2, but with just under 10 minutes to go into the final third of the session now, the road, I suspect, is going to get busier soon.
I think it will. Plenty of them have been in pit lane. Plenty of them are coming out of pit lane at the moment. Laurens van Thur in the Porsche is into pit lane. So too is Kevin Estra. So a Porsche pit lane at the moment. And Eduardo Mortara, Mr. Macau, making his way out of pit lane on this lap. The Eduardo Mortara, as you say, the waxwork, Adam Tussauds waxwork in the Grand Prix, the Macau Grand Prix Museum yesterday. He's almost got a room to himself, hasn't he, Mortara?
Yeah, and, understandably.
The only person that has got a room to himself. Augusto Farfus goes second, so with a purple sector in sector 5, and now on this lap, a purple in sector 1. Augusto Farfus in the BMW goes second, a former winner.
Laurens van Thor has gone back out. Engel comes in. 8 3/4 minutes to go. So the session is either going to sort of end with the teams having done their work for the day, or it's going to explode at the end because they're going to go and do a dummy qualifying run.
I'm going to watch Augusto Farfus. He's gone purple in sector 2 as well. He went second on the previous lap, and now in the BMW, he's purple sector 1, purple sector 2, on sector 3 at the moment. Let's see if we can catch up with the BMW. This might be quite an interesting lap for Augusto Farfus.
Boa is pretty quiet at the moment, as you can see, but Farfus is up the hill. And the Rover BMW looking good, but he's down in the 3rd sector. No improvement there, Alan.
No, and not even green, so that's not so good in sector 3. What about sector 4? Out of Moorish. And then on to Donna Maria. Through the left-hander, thread to the BMW. That trademark big grille at the front of the BMW looms as Augusto goes down through the Melco hairpin, then through Black Sands. Fisherman's Bend is next. And then the completion of the lap comes at our bend, and another down on sector. Augusto, I called it wrong, I'm afraid.
Yeah, strange lap, wasn't it? Started off so well, and then it just unravelled a little bit, but he's still pushing. So Farfus, former Formula 3000 champion, Euro 3000, drove for Alfa Romeo in touring car racing, then defected to BMW, and he's been a loyal servant since, touring cars and GT racing. This is Raffaele Marciello. 3 out of 4 sectors on this lap are personal bests, so improvements. And he's about to come down towards our bend then, as he closes up a little bit on the Ferrari ahead. He goes through the right-hander now. The timing beam awaits, and Raffaele will break the beam and go fastest on a 2:15.624. It was bookended, can you believe it, by slower 1st and 5th sectors, but the middle bit was absolute dynamite, and Marciello is quickest by 0.175 of a second.
No purples in any of the sectors, but he didn't need them because the whole thing threaded together to put a purple at the end. That's the one that matters.
Now, your man Farfus is still on the money, and he's done an absolute best sector 1, and Daniel Serra has done an absolute best sector 2, only to have that bettered, and he's now gone quicker than anybody in sector 3.
So the order, Raffaele Marciello, it is that's top of the times in pre-practice at 2:15.624. Mauro Engel is just coming out of the pit lane for the final 6 minutes of this pre-practice session, and just a 10th down on Raffaele Marciello. 2 Mercedes at the front then. BMW is next, car number 11. Augusto Farfus with the 2:15.857, and Laurens van Thur in the Porsche in car number 99 is 4th. A 2:15.935. Mortara is 5th, and Sheldon van der Linde completes the top 6. 5.5 minutes to go, and Raffaele Marciello is top.
Is he going to stay there? 0.175 around 6 kilometres of circuit is nothing at all, is it? What about Daniel Serra? He's been looking racy on this lap in number 51 Ferrari, and as he goes through, he goes 3rd. So Daniel Serra, 3rd fastest. So Mercedes, Ferrari, BMW, Porsche, Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Porsche. The other one to watch, possibly, is going to be Kevin Estre. He's been released from the pit lane, but has fallen back to 11th now because Alessio Picariello has just gone 7th. So I don't think Kevin Estre is going to go to sleep with the thought of being on page 2 of the timing being a good one. So he's going to hustle on.
Augusto Farfus second with a 2:15.665. So book-ended with overall best sectors. Augusto Farfus on that lap. Best in sector 1, best of all in sector 5, a personal best in sector 3. That all adds up, that all stitches up to be 4/100ths of a second behind Raffaele Marciello.
Mortara's just gone 3rd, as we saw, and this is Lawrence Vanthorpe, who has now dropped to 6th. Didn't improve last time. And Kevin Estre is about to have to push because he's down to 12th now.
In a breath, Mauro Engel is down from 1st to 4th, and right. That's because he's been in pit lane. So Marciello, Farfus and Mortara have gone quicker. Mauro Engel on the pit out lap this one, so he's going to go on to a quick lap next. He's down in 4th place. Serra is in 5th, and Lawrence Vanthorpe is in 6th. Right,
so Vanthorpe, the only World Cup winner to win it upside down and cause a red flag, but was leading on the countback, so he took the win. He is 6th. Sector 1 was an improvement. Let's get you up towards the top of San Francisco Hill through the S's. And sector 2 is down. That's Picariello, who's 9th now. Out of the hairpin goes Alessio Picariello. 3 minutes and change on the clock now. Junqueira fastest, a 2:15.5. He's faster by 54 thousandths of a second ahead of Marciello.
He's a winner here at Macau, is Daniel Junqueira, and he goes top, a 2:15.570. Did we say at the start of today it was going to be tricky to pick a winner of this race this weekend?
We absolutely did. Junqueira, Marciello, Serra, Farfus, Mortara, Engel, Vanthorpe, Van der Linde, Bamba, Picariello. That's your top 10. And the other 10 in the entry are just as good.
Unbelievable. Daniel Junqueira, top of the times at 2:15.570. Raffaele Marciello is 2nd. Serra is 3rd. Farfus is 4th. Mortara and Engel complete the top 6. 2.5 minutes to go. On board with Raffaele Marciello. Raffaele Marciello is 2nd at the moment at 2:15.624. Towards the conclusion of another lap, counting down to 2 minutes of this session remaining. The Mercedes not only looks great, makes a wonderful, wonderful noise. And here at Macau, with the echo, the amplification of the noise between the guardrails and the walls around the circuit, it's a very noisy Macau at the moment, and it's good noise.
It sure is, and we've got just under 2 more minutes of it as Mauro Engel then dives down towards our bend. 2 personal bests, 2 slower sectors make up the lap thus far, and as he breaks the beam, he does not improve and he stays 7th in 77. But Mauro Engel is not done yet, hustles on. He knows this place very, very well indeed. The most Australian-sounding German, having spent time racing V8 Supercars, and he's never lost the Aussie twang. He's great value, is Mauro.
He is. He's a good guy, really good guy. Augusto Farfus has not given up either yet. He's just gone purple in sector 2. So he's currently down in 4th place, lost a couple of places with Marciello.
Engel up the escape road at Lisboa, that's torn it.
And that's smooth. Spin turn the car, get going again. What mistake.
Yeah, well, it's going to cost him 3 or 4 seconds, but it's the end of the session for him. He's not going to be able to recover, and he won't get onto another lap. So Mauro Engel has done. But yes, he knew what was coming, knew exactly where to position the car, didn't try and make the corner. No. Had it all under control.
And even had planned that he was going to immediately spin turn the car. And did anyone see that? No, I don't think so.
Mistake, what mistake, like you say. Yeah, nothing to see here, Gov, move on. How's Kevin Estre doing? He's not, can you believe? He's 14th. So Kevin Estre struggling for whatever reason in the Hub Auto Porsche. He's not been here for a few years, but we know that he's a very, very quick driver. That's Farfus heading up towards the line in number 11 BMW.
In 4th place.
Yeah.
And although went purple in sector 2, has dropped on sector 1, 3 and 4.
Looks loose, that car. It just seemed to have a bit more movement in it coming up through our bend, and the net result is that he doesn't improve, misses out by about 0.8 of a second. That's Al Bamba.
Who is in the top 10,
yeah,
9th.
Takes the checkered flag and stays 9th.
So, a session of surprises. Danny Juncadella at the top of the times. First time he's done that in FP1 or FP2. And then Raffaele Marciello goes quickest at 2:15.565. Took my eye off the screen. It's fatal, isn't it?
But look at the margin, 5 thousandths of a second. Just think about it, 5 thousandths around a 6 kilometre long circuit like this. That's nuts. That is nothing at all.
No one can predict what's going to happen this weekend. We have such a high quality lineup of drivers, and anything happens. Raffaele Marciello by 5 thousandths of a second quicker than Danny Juncadella. Just superb. This is just great.
Mad, isn't it?
Yes.
So Marciello
qualifying tomorrow.
Oh, can't wait. And Kevin Estre did improve, but only up to 13th. There's more to come from Kevin Estre, there's more to come from Thomas Preining, and there's more to come from Jules Gounon, who's only 18th. He's not been here before, but I think it's taking Jules a bit longer to get used to the circuit than you might have anticipated. That said, his last lap was an improvement, so he's chipping away all the time. So the flag is out, and Raffaele Marciello ends the day as the fastest. And although it's not a surprise that he is quickest, it wouldn't have been a surprise if any of them had been quickest, really. Such is the quality of the grid. And so there'll be a debrief for some of the teams. They'll try and work out where the lost time might be able to be found in anticipation of tomorrow. And it's only one qualifying session, as Alan was saying, so the pressure is on. Formula 3 get 2, but for the GT drivers, there's just that one session. So it's going to be very, very important indeed that they get it right for the qualifying session tomorrow. We're still with a couple of cars to come through, but Farfus isn't going to improve. Matteo Cairoli, quickest at the very end by 33 thousandths. The Tsingtao Porsche goes fastest, and that's Kevin Estre coming up to the line, and he's done an absolute best in sector 4, and Kevin Estre will go across the line, and he will go 12th in the end. It wasn't quite the drama I was hoping, but he did improve. But Matteo Cairoli there is the driver that is fastest by the end of the day, and if that doesn't make you go hunting for a beer at the end of it after his efforts, then nothing will. So Matteo Cairoli in the very Italian coloured Porsche, the green and the red, goes quickest, 33 thousandths of a second. Right, just to put all this in context, in the end the top 14 were covered by just under a second. That's 14 out of 20 covered by under a second around here.
And that wasn't a competitive session.
No, that's just dialing them all in. That's only free practice 2. You wait till qualifying. You just wait. It's going to be spectacular, to say the least.
Unbelievable, right at the end.
Brilliant job by Matteo Cairoli. Superb. And he's another driver that's being tipped to be moving away from one brand to another. He's being suggested that a Lamborghini seat might be attracting him for next year, but we'll see, because he's done a lot of miles for Porsche. Raffaele Marciello second, Danny Juncadella third, Daniel Serra fourth, Augusto Farfus fifth, Sheldon van der Linde sixth in that session. So to recap the order, Matteo Cairoli quicker than Raffaele Marciello by 33 thousandths, and then a further 5 thousandths back Danny Juncadella. Daniel Serra fourth from Augusto Farfus and Sheldon van der Linde. Edo Mortara seventh from Mauro Engel, Lawrence Van Thor and Al Bamba 10th. Alessio Picariello's Porsche 11th ahead of stablemate Kevin Estre. Then another Porsche, Yihong Li. Another Porsche 14th, Thomas Preining, ahead of the Ferrari of David Chen. Adderley Fong's Hello Kitty Audi 16th from Christopher Hauser, then Frankie Cheng, Jules Gounon 19th. Furrowed brows all round, and it's Marciello that rounds out the top 20. 2 outstanding free practice sessions, and then tomorrow they will have qualifying for the Macau GT Cup, the FIA GT World Cup. It will be a 30-minute session starting at 2:05. And if you thought it's been dramatic today, just you wait until qualifying tomorrow. It is going to be absolutely outstanding drama, that is for sure. But Matteo Cairoli ends day 1 of our 70th anniversary Macau Grand Prix weekend as fastest for the Macau GT Cup. We'll see you tomorrow.